This younger person is not pulling away because the attraction disappeared. They are pulling back because the attraction has become harder to control. And the first card makes that painfully clear. The Knight of Wands reversed. This is someone carrying heat, urgency, and desire, but with no easy way to direct it. They want to move closer to you. They want to take this beyond glances, jokes, and half-finished conversations. Yet every time they imagine making that move, something inside them hits the brakes. Welcome, whether you are new here or returning. This is a collective love reading, so take what resonates and leave the rest. We are using the cards as symbols for emotional patterns, not as fixed predictions. And right now, this reversed knight is showing a person whose body moves forward while their fear pulls them back. They may be younger than you, or simply more impulsive, restless, and emotionally unpolished. Around other people, they can appear bold. They may know how to flirt, create tension, or make their presence impossible to ignore. But around you, that confidence becomes inconsistent. One day they are warm, attentive, almost daring you to notice. The next, they become distracted, distant, or strangely careful. That contradiction is the hook, because you are not just another exciting possibility to them. You represent something that could become real. Your confidence, maturity, and refusal to chase have changed the way they approach you. They cannot rely on charm alone. They sense that if they step closer, you will see everything. The desire, the nerves, the jealousy, and the part of them that is no longer satisfied with keeping this casual. For some of you, this person has already created an excuse to stay near you longer. They may stretch out a conversation, appear where they know you will be, or send a message that looks ordinary but carries a second meaning. Then, just when the moment begins to deepen, they retreat. If this feels familiar, comment. I welcome love that arrives with courage and clarity, because the Knight of Wands reversed is not only exposing hesitation, it is revealing pressure. This person has been trying to contain feelings that keep returning stronger, and the next card will show whether they are finally preparing to turn that restless desire into a deliberate step toward you. But first, notice what their sudden silence is desperately protecting. It is protecting the weight they are already carrying. And the Ten of Wands makes that pressure impossible to ignore. This person is not silent because they have forgotten you. They are silent because their feelings for you have become one more thing they can no longer handle casually. They may already be dealing with responsibilities, expectations, or private stress they rarely discuss. Around other people, they can keep moving. They can stay busy, make jokes, answer questions, and appear completely in control. But when it comes to you, that control begins to slip. Because you are not another task they can complete and put away. You require honesty. For some of you, this person has opened a message to you several times without knowing how to begin. They may type something direct, delete it, and replace it with something ordinary. They may watch your response carefully, hoping you will notice the feeling beneath the words without forcing them to admit it. Then the conversation becomes warmer, and suddenly they retreat again. The Ten of Wands often symbolizes someone carrying too much while refusing to put anything down. Emotionally, this can look like a person who wants closeness but believes they must solve every other problem before they are allowed to pursue it. They tell themselves they need more time, more confidence, or a better plan. But the attraction does not wait for their life to become convenient. That is where the Knight of Wands reversed connects to this card. The desire is restless, but the person carrying it feels overloaded. One part of them wants to move toward you immediately. Another part is afraid that taking this further will create feelings, expectations, and vulnerability they cannot control. Your maturity makes them feel safe, but it also makes them aware of what they would need to bring to you. They sense that charm will not be enough, An intense conversation followed by silence will not be enough. If they step closer, they will eventually have to show consistency. And beneath all this pressure is a fear they may not be ready to admit. That you will see how deeply they want this before they know whether they can carry it properly. Yet recently, they have noticed something different in the way you respond to them. And what they believe that change means is making silence feel even more dangerous, because they believe you are becoming less willing to wait for them. And the King of Cups makes that realization difficult to ignore. This card reflects emotional control, quiet confidence, and the ability to care deeply without losing yourself in someone else's uncertainty. That is how this person is beginning to see you. You can be warm without becoming available on demand. You can show interest without chasing. You can feel something and still keep your standards intact. They notice when you end the conversation first. They notice when you remain calm after they become distant. They notice that you do not demand explanations, compete for their attention, or rush in to repair the silence they created. And that calm affects them more than pressure ever could. Because your composure leaves them alone with the consequences of their hesitation. For some of you, they expected you to make their uncertainty easier. They may have assumed that if they stepped back, you would reach forward. That if they became quiet, you would ask what was wrong. Or that your attraction would keep you emotionally available, while they decided what they were ready to offer. But you did not stop living. You remained engaged with your own responsibilities, your own relationships, and the parts of your life that existed before this person appeared. You may still respond kindly. You may still enjoy the connection, but they can sense that your world does not revolve around whether they finally make a move. That is what the King of Cups is showing here. Not coldness, emotional authority. You are not punishing them. You are simply refusing to become unstable because they are unstable. And for someone who is used to creating attraction through unpredictability, that can feel deeply intimidating. It can also make the desire stronger. Because now they are wondering whether they have waited too long. Whether your calm means you are losing interest. Whether someone else has already noticed the same warmth, confidence, and emotional depth that drew them toward you in the first place. This is where their behavior may begin to shift. They may become more attentive when other people are around. They may watch who receives your time, who makes you laugh, or who seems comfortable standing close to you. They may ask questions that sound casual, but are really attempts to understand whether your attention has moved elsewhere. The King of Cups shows that you are not trying to make them jealous. You do not have to. Your stability is doing something they did not expect. It is not only attracting them, it is awakening a competitive, almost possessive reaction they have been trying to keep hidden. And the next card reveals exactly what happens inside them when someone else receives the attention they assumed would still be waiting for them. And the moon shows that what happens inside them is not simple jealousy. It is uncertainty turning into imagination. This person does not know exactly where they stand with you. They do not know how much you feel, how long you are willing to remain open, or whether someone else has already reached the place they were too hesitant to claim. So when another person receives your attention, their mind begins filling in the spaces your silence leaves behind. They may notice a compliment and wonder how often it happens. They may see you laugh with someone and question whether that ease exists between you privately. They may hear another person mention you warmly and immediately become more alert. The reaction may be subtle. For some of you, they become louder, more playful, or unusually confident. They may enter a conversation they were not part of, find a reason to stand closer, or suddenly remind you of something shared between the two of you. For others, they do the opposite. They become quiet. They withdraw before anyone can notice that something affected them. They may act distracted, look away, or pretend the situation means nothing while privately replaying every detail. That is the moon. It reflects emotion moving through uncertainty, where fear and instinct can become difficult to separate. Some of the competition they sense may be real, but some of it may exist mostly in their imagination because they have never asked you directly what this connection means. And their hesitation created that confusion. They left an empty space where clarity should have been. Now they are afraid someone more direct, more available, or more emotionally prepared could step into it. The age or maturity difference matters here because their usual methods are no longer enough. Flirting can create attention, mystery can create tension, but neither can secure a place in someone's life. They are beginning to understand that, and it unsettles them, because they cannot charm their way out of the possibility that you may choose someone who offers what they have been afraid to give: consistency, openness, and a clear intention. The moon also reveals why their feelings have become harder to conceal. They are no longer reacting only to attraction. They are reacting to the possibility of losing access to you before they have ever been honest about wanting more. But jealousy is not the real surprise here. The real surprise is what their fear of losing you has forced them to admit privately. They have started imagining what it would actually feel like to be with you. Not briefly, not casually, for real. And the Four of Pentacles reversed shows why that realization is beginning to change them. This person has been holding everything in. The attraction, the jealousy, the hope, even the small fantasies they would never admit out loud. But something about imagining a real relationship with you is making that control harder to maintain. They are no longer thinking only about the excitement of getting your attention. They are thinking about what it would feel like to become part of your life. Not in a dramatic way, in an ordinary one. They may imagine spending time with you when neither of you has somewhere else to be. Sharing a private joke that follows you both for days. Sitting close without needing to perform. Waking up beside you and realizing the connection still feels natural when there is no flirting left to hide behind. For some of you, they have imagined being introduced to someone important to you. They may wonder how they would fit into your routine, what you are like when you are tired, or whether you would trust them with the parts of your life that require more than charm. That is what makes this different. Their desire is beginning to include responsibility. The Four of Pentacles reversed often reflects the moment when someone realizes they cannot keep protecting themselves without also blocking the very closeness they want. This person may have spent a long time controlling what they reveal, keeping their feelings contained, and making sure they never appear more invested than the other person. But with you, that strategy is failing, because the connection no longer fits inside a casual fantasy. You may awaken a longing for emotional belonging that they usually cover with humor, movement, or distraction. Around you, they do not only want to be wanted, they want to be trusted. They want to become someone you can relax around, someone you can depend on, and that desire exposes another insecurity. The age or maturity difference may make them question whether they can offer the consistency they believe you deserve. They may picture the closeness clearly, then immediately worry that they will disappoint you once the excitement becomes real life. So they loosen their grip, then tighten it again. They move toward honesty, then become afraid of what honesty will require. That is the risk inside this reversed card. They are beginning to consider a deliberate step toward you. But one unresolved fear could still make them pull back at the exact moment the opportunity opens. And the next card reveals the thought that could cause them to sabotage what they already know they want. And the Five of Pentacles shows that the thought is painfully simple. They are afraid they will not be enough for you. Not interesting enough. Not established enough. not emotionally prepared enough to stand beside someone who seems to know what they want and what they will no longer accept. For some of you, this person looks at the difference between your lives and focuses only on what they believe they lack. They may compare experience, confidence, stability, or the way you handle pressure. Then they quietly decide that you would eventually notice the gap too. What if I am not mature enough for them? What if they only see me as temporary? What if I make the first move and lose the connection completely? These are the questions hiding beneath their hesitation. The Five of Pentacles often reflects the fear of being left outside before anyone has actually closed the door. Psychologically, this can make someone reject themselves in advance. They assume the answer will be no, then behave as though they never wanted to ask. That can look like indifference, but it is overthinking. They may wait for the perfect opening, rehearse what they want to say, and then decide the timing is wrong. They may analyze one short reply from you for hours. They may convince themselves that moving on is the safest choice, only to find another reason to message you, see you, or continue the conversation. They keep returning because the feeling remains. They keep retreating because the insecurity remains too. For some of you, outside opinions add another layer. They may wonder how friends, relatives, co-workers, or other people would react to the age difference. Not because those people necessarily disapprove, but because this person is already searching for reason connection could fail. And fear is very creative when it wants to protect itself. Still, understanding this does not mean you must accept endless inconsistency. Their insecurity may explain the mixed signals, but it does not erase the effect those signals have on you. You are still allowed to require clarity. You are still allowed to expect effort. That distinction matters. Because this person is beginning to realize that silence does not keep the connection safe. It may be the very thing that costs them the opportunity. And something is starting to overpower the fear. Not another impulsive rush. Not another moment of attraction they cannot control. A quieter decision is forming. One that asks them to stop standing outside the connection and approach you with more intention. And the next card shows whether they are finally ready to do that, and the Page of Pentacles suggests that they are. But not in the way you might expect. This person may not arrive with a dramatic confession. They may not suddenly explain every feeling, every hesitation, or every moment they pulled away. The first change is likely to be smaller than that. More practical, more consistent. The Page of Pentacles often represents someone learning how to turn interest into effort. Instead of relying on chemistry alone, this person begins looking for something real they can offer. A reason to check in, a detail they remembered, a promise they can actually keep. That is a major shift from the Knight of Wands reversed. Before, the attraction moved faster than their judgment. They came closer when the desire became intense, then retreated when the emotional consequences appeared. Now they are beginning to understand that getting closer to you requires something steadier. Not performance. Follow through. For some of you, you may notice that their conversations become more focused. They ask questions and remain present long enough to hear the answers. Their tone may become calmer. They may stop trying so hard to impress you and begin paying closer attention to what makes you comfortable. They could remember something small you mentioned days ago. They could follow up on a problem you were dealing with. They could create a genuine reason to see you again instead of waiting for chance to place you together. The gesture may seem modest, but that is the point. This person is testing whether they can approach you without hiding behind intensity. They are learning that emotional courage does not always look bold. Sometimes it looks like showing up when you said you would, sending the message without deleting it, staying in the conversation after something honest has been revealed. Notice whether they have recently become less performative around you, less restless, more attentive. The Page of Pentacles can show someone who still feels inexperienced, but is willing to learn what this connection requires. They may not know the perfect words. They may still become nervous when the moment deepens, but instead of disappearing immediately, they are trying to remain close enough to build trust. That is the real change. They are no longer asking only, "Do you want me?" They are beginning to ask, "How do I show you that I am serious?" And their next move may not sound romantic on the surface. It may appear practical, casual, or connected to something you already discussed. But the hidden reason will be unmistakable. They are trying to create time alone with you, and Temperance reversed shows why they may create that opportunity in an awkward, indirect way. They want private time with you, but they still do not know how to make the invitation feel natural without revealing too much. So they may build the moment around something practical. They could ask for your opinion, return to a subject you discussed earlier, offer help with something small, or suggest continuing a conversation somewhere quieter. The reason they give may sound ordinary. The intention beneath it is not. They are trying to place the two of you in a setting where neither person has to perform for anyone else, where the conversation can slow down, where they can see what happens when there are no interruptions, no audience, and no easy excuse to look away. Temperance, reversed, often reflects difficulty finding the right balance. This person may approach too casually because they are afraid of sounding serious. Or they may become unusually focused, then realize they are revealing more than they planned. They are trying to control the pace, but the attraction keeps disturbing that control. For some of you, the message may arrive at an unexpected time. It could refer to something minor you barely remember mentioning, but they remembered it because it gave them a reason to return. That matters. Because a sincere approach will not end with the invitation itself. They will follow through. They will pay attention while they are with you. They will remain present even when the interaction becomes quieter, warmer, or more personal than expected. An impulsive cycle creates contact, enjoys the tension, and disappears. Intentional interest stays long enough to discover what the tension means. This person wants to know how the two of you function together, whether conversation continues easily after the flirting settles, whether your humor matches, whether silence feels uncomfortable or intimate, whether you respect each other's pace without losing the pull between you. They are looking for proof that this is more than chemistry. And Temperance reversed suggests that proof may arrive through a moment neither of you planned. A conversation could run longer than expected. A practical meeting could become personal. One of you may reveal something honest, and the other may respond with a softness that changes the entire atmosphere. Then the balance shifts. The space between you feels smaller. The ordinary excuse no longer explains why neither of you wants the moment to end. That is when this person may stop sounding playful. Their attention becomes direct. Their body becomes still. And for a few seconds, neither of you can continue pretending that this attraction is harmless. Because once that moment arrives, the question is no longer whether something exists between you. The question is what the two of you are willing to do about it. And the next card reveals the choice placed directly between you. And the Knight of Cups reversed shows that the choice is not simply whether the attraction is mutual. The choice is whether this person will finally express it honestly. Because when the moment becomes real, they may feel the urge to hide behind charm again, to make a joke, to offer a compliment that sounds casual, to move close enough for you to feel the intention, but not close enough for them to be held accountable for it. That is the risk inside this reversed knight. The feeling is present. The delivery is uncertain. For some of you, there may be prolonged eye contact followed by one of you looking away too quickly. A conversation may cross into personal territory, Then pause because both of you understand what has just been revealed. They could say something that sounds simple, but their tone makes it impossible to dismiss. I like talking to you. I feel different around you. I have been thinking about this more than I should. They may not say everything, but they may finally say enough. The Knight of Cups reversed often reflects someone who has romantic feelings, but struggles to carry them forward with emotional clarity. They may idealize the connection, fear ruining it, or rely on suggestion because directness leaves them vulnerable. And you will feel the difference between charm and truth. Charm tries to create a reaction. Truth accepts the risk of your response. This is where the two of you appear strongly matched. They bring movement, curiosity, and a kind of renewed excitement that interrupts your usual emotional control. You bring grounding, discernment, and the ability to recognize what is real beneath what is performed. Neither of you is here to fix the other. The strength of this connection comes from contrast without imbalance. They remind you that desire can still feel spontaneous. You remind them that attraction becomes meaningful when it is supported by intention. Taking this further does not require a dramatic declaration. It requires the two of you to stop treating ambiguity as the safest option. One person has to become clear enough for the other to respond honestly. That is the choice. Not fate, not fantasy, communication. And even if this person finally steps forward, the match cannot survive on intensity alone. Their words must become consistent with their behavior. Your openness must not require you to abandon the standards that made them respect you in the first place. Because the final question is not only whether you should allow this person closer, it is what you should recognize, require, and refuse to carry for them when they finally ask to take this further. And the final card reveals exactly that. And the Six of Swords reversed reveals that you should not confuse returning with changing. This person may come back toward you. They may reopen the conversation, create the private moment, or finally acknowledge what has been building between you. But this card asks you to notice whether they are truly moving forward or simply circling the same emotional pattern. Because attraction can bring someone back. Only intention can move a connection ahead. The Six of Swords reversed often reflects unfinished emotional movement. Someone wants to leave fear behind, but part of them keeps returning to familiar habits. Silence, overthinking, indirect messages. A moment of closeness followed by another retreat. That is what you should refuse to carry for them. You can understand their insecurity without managing it. You can recognize their feelings without translating every mixed signal. You can remain open without becoming responsible for creating the courage they need to approach you honestly. The progression has been clear. The Knight of Wands reversed revealed desire without direction. The Ten of Wands showed the pressure they were carrying. The King of Cups reflected the emotional steadiness they see in you, while the Moon exposed everything uncertainty caused them to imagine. The Four of Pentacles reversed showed them struggling to release control. The Five of Pentacles revealed their fear of not being enough. Then the Page of Pentacles brought the possibility of effort, and Temperance reversed showed how awkwardly they may try to create closeness. The Knight of Cups reversed exposed the final difficulty. They feel more than they know how to express. And now the Six of Swords reversed asks whether they will keep repeating that difficulty or finally move through it. The two of you may feel unusually compatible because each awakens something the other has been missing. They bring energy, spontaneity, and emotional movement. You bring depth, calm, and the kind of attention that makes someone feel seen without allowing them to hide. They may have first been drawn to your confidence, but what pulls them closer now is the possibility of being desired and emotionally understood at the same time. Still, take what resonates and leave the rest. This is a collective reading, And the clearest sign will not be a card or a promise. It will be behavior. You do not need to chase them. You do not need to decode endless inconsistency. And you do not need to lower your standards to prove that this connection is safe. If they are ready to take it further, they will return differently. With clarity, with effort, and with the courage to keep moving once you meet them halfway. If this resonates, comment. I welcome love that moves forward with honesty. Because the right connection will not ask you to carry both people across the distance.